Hey, what's up guys? Mikey here. For my birthday this year, I got this official SpongeBob SquarePants paddleball set from Five Below. So now I think it's as good as time as any to take the Dirty Bubble Challenge and hit the paddleball 29,998,559,671,349 times in a row. Darn it. Darn it. Darn it. Darn it. Hello?
Hey Mikey, it's Christina. I have an emergency here and I really need your help.
Does it involve student loans?
No.
Taxes?
No.
Alright, I'm on my way. "40 minutes later."
Hey, come on in, it's important.
So what's the situation?
Well, I just woke up 2 hours ago and my cat was not in his normal resting spot. I looked everywhere. I have no idea where he is.
Oh no, that's awful. You can't find him anywhere in the house?
No.
Dang. Well, I never had a pet dog or cat growing up, so I don't have much experience in this field. So in times like this, there's only one thing I know I can do.
Call 911?
Nope. Sit down and see if there's a SpongeBob episode that relates to something like this. SpongeBob back in its early days was definitely a show that provided comedy and some good laughs more than anything else.
One watermelon, fresh from the manure field. Your spookiness?
There were some varying tones throughout the years too, like the eeriness of being in a strange new environment from episode 35, Rock Bottom from season 1, or the ambiguousness of what the embarrassing snapshot of SpongeBob at the Christmas party was from episode 69, The Secret Box from season 2. It still provided some good morals and very sweet character moments throughout, most often with the characters and their friends, since the families of the main characters are rarely shown. There are some nice family moments every now and then, but they don't come up super often. But as we all know, one of the sweetest character dynamics of the series is between the title character SpongeBob and his pet snail Gary, most of the time. Have You Seen This Snail is the episode where Gary runs away when SpongeBob is too distracted from a paddleball challenge and gets taken in by an old lady, and SpongeBob tried to find Gary. This episode aired on November 11, 2005, and is the last episode of the series to air in the year 2005. This episode is also noteworthy for so many things, both in terms of its marketing, major milestones for the show, and of being one of several episodes of the show that aired on November 11th in various years. If someone out there is a SpongeBob fan and happens to be born on November 11th, that nerd must be so excited when a new SpongeBob episode premieres on their birthday. This episode was confirmed all the way back in July of 2005, and during the month leading up to this episode's premiere, there was a print campaign and a sweepstakes where the winner would win a trip to Nickelodeon Animation Studios and meet the SpongeBob voice cast and sit in with a recording session. The winner of the contest remains unknown. I think I tried to enter that back in the day, but I clearly wasn't the winner. I thought the contest was to appear on TV with Patchy the Pirate and help look for Gary in marketing promos, but I was wrong, and it turns out that was just a random marketing campaign that featured Tony Hawk helping Patchy look for Gary. A very weird one looking back in retrospect, especially since we never found out who won the contest. But clearly, all of this marketing helped because this would end up becoming the third most viewed episode of the whole series, with a total of almost 8 million views on premiere day. This is also the first 22-minute episode of Season 4, the first to come out after the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, and the first special episode that doesn't feature Patchy the Pirate and Potty the Parrot. They do appear at the very beginning in some of the most bizarre and worthless Flash animation I've ever seen, but this is the first time where all 22 minutes of a 22-minute SpongeBob episode are purely animated SpongeBob portions. This episode also has special guest stars in the form of Amy Poehler as the voice of the stray snail lady.
Oh, Miss Tuftsy, do you have to go potty?
And Stu as the musical guest who sings the sad song here. Now, as previously discussed, I thought that episode 56, Christmas Who from season 2, the first 22-minute special of the series, was great. And I was not huge on the 3 22-minute episodes from season 3. They all have different kinds of problems, but we're in a new season and new era of the show now. So I think there should be something to praise here. I still remember when this episode came out and I was so excited to watch it. I remember I was so close to crying during the song, but then started laughing when the Skyride gag happened, which cheered me up. This episode does mostly have positive reviews and praise from fans and critics everywhere, especially these days. Except from somebody in Florida who claimed this was way too out of character for SpongeBob when he's supposed to be happy. Oh, I'm sorry, are you happy when you and your best friend are apart, never to be seen again depending on the circumstance? Well, let's ignore that jackass and rewatch this episode to discuss just how impactful it is.
What? Finally. You do know I have a situation here.
So the episode starts up and SpongeBob is carrying home a heavy bag of snail food for Gary when he meets Patrick. When SpongeBob arrives home, he sees a letter saying his package wasn't dropped off. Then conveniently, his package arrived and it was his official Merryman and Barnacle Boy paddleball set. He found a flyer showing the Dirty Bubble Challenge, an impossible pinball challenge to hit the paddleball roughly 30 trillion times in a row. SpongeBob accepts the challenge and sings as if the dirty bubble is dead.
Yeah, I don't get that. He may get popped, but he always comes back.
SpongeBob kept hitting himself with the paddle ball, and Gary started getting ready for feeding time, but there was nothing for him. He tried to get SpongeBob to feed him, but SpongeBob didn't know that Gary was trying to get him to feed him, and just assumed Gary was trying to keep him from taking on the challenge. He got even angrier when Gary stuck himself to SpongeBob's face. Gary had no food and was sad that SpongeBob was ignoring him, and decided to run away. He carried stuff on his shell without hands, snuck out the back garage door, and just went as far as he felt he could go. Even on a bus with a Snailways banner when he's the only snail on the bus. A few days later, Patrick went over to SpongeBob's house and saw the heavy bag of snail food outside. He went inside and saw SpongeBob's house in a wreck, caused by SpongeBob driving himself crazy over doing the Dirty Bubble Challenge.
I never did a video game challenge per se, but my room was never that messy.
SpongeBob told Patrick he attempted the challenge, and Patrick revealed he took that challenge and won, but lost the trophy they sent him. SpongeBob was sorry about that, so he treated Patrick to some kelp cookies and seahorse milk. He saw Gary's food bowl and remembered he needed to feed Gary. SpongeBob grabbed the heavy food and brought it inside for Gary.
Is cat food really that heavy?
Yes.
Huh, okay then.
Gary never showed up, and after Patrick used the seahorse milk to determine SpongeBob was taking the challenge for 10 days, SpongeBob became terrified and looked everywhere for Gary and couldn't find him. Meanwhile, in the middle of nowhere, Gary heard some howling, but it was his stomach because he was still hungry. SpongeBob tried to use Gary's favorite treats, some sentiments that bottom feeders love, but this didn't work because Patrick ate some of the sentiments.
I would question how Patrick got away with that, but he never got his kelp cookies from SpongeBob, and we also never found out what he wanted to tell SpongeBob.
Later that night, they looked outside SpongeBob's house and inside Squidward's house, but they still couldn't find him. Upon looking in SpongeBob's overflowing mailbox, he found a scroll snail written by Gary saying that because he never fed him, he ran away to a more conscientious pet owner, and SpongeBob realized what Gary wanted and felt devastated about what he had done. Meanwhile, Gary found himself in a different city called Bass Vegas, and it looked very shady indeed. The fish ignored him, and when he found nachos in a stray alley, he was scared away by 3 thug-like stray snails. And then Gary ran away and bumped into a mysterious figure, and it breaks for commercial.
Well, that didn't help. Let's go see if we can find my cat somewhere in the neighborhood.
Okay, quick question though. Didn't you say you had a boyfriend?
Yes.
So why can't he help you today?
He's busy today.
Busy doing what?
Busy being my boyfriend.
Fair enough, let's go.
One hour later.
Dang, I can't believe we didn't find him.
Me neither. And you know he didn't run away because you forgot to feed him.
No, I always refill his bowl before I go to bed.
And he still ran away because of that?
No, he's always hungry.
Huh, I'm learning something new today. Well, maybe if we sit down and finish the episode we started, we'll get some more leads from it.
When it came back from commercial, the mysterious figure was just an old lady who mistook Gary for her own snail, Miss Tuftsy. She took Gary home, pampered him, and most importantly, fed him. Gary was thankful to finally get something to eat. Grandma turned on some music and tried to dance before she accidentally hurt herself. Back in Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob continued looking for Gary, but couldn't find him and was sadder than ever. Back at Grandma's house, she took Gary to bed. Gary had an actual proper bed and a goodnight kiss.
Well, my cat doesn't use his bed.
Okay, so that can't be why he ran away.
The next morning, SpongeBob was late to work, and Mr. Krabs only noticed that SpongeBob wasn't wearing his hat. SpongeBob was so sad that he kept crying while working, which caused problems for the customers. Mr. Krabs wasn't interested in why SpongeBob was sad and only cared about him working, even saying that any problem you have can be solved with hard work. SpongeBob realized he was right and left work to try harder to find Gary.
It's true, whenever I'm stuck on an obnoxious video game, I work harder, and most of the time I end up conquering it.
SpongeBob got office supplies to wake up Patrick with and to make posters to find Gary with. Meanwhile, Grandma made Gary some breakfast and then took him out for a day in Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob and Patrick started setting up flyers, but Patrick was distracted by scented pine cones. He ran into Grandma, who already bought them for herself. Patrick saw Gary, but did nothing about that. He left the store, and SpongeBob got mad when the flyers were torn in half.
That's SpongeBob's fault for putting them across the doors in the first place.
What follows is a montage of SpongeBob and Patrick looking for Gary and having several near misses, unknowingly passing by Gary and Grandma, and SpongeBob being sad about missing Gary, all playing to the show's saddest song ever. And SpongeBob even flies a Skyrider without a license to write out his message. Until Patrick messes it up. Gary and Grandma made it home, and Gary needed to go to the bathroom. Grandma gave him the flyers to use, which is when Gary discovered how much SpongeBob missed him and was looking for him. So Gary tried to leave, but he found a room full of dead snails, which were a result of the lady constantly feeding them to death. So Gary tried to escape and ran at a snail's pace, but Grandma chased after him at a snail's pace with cookies and deviled eggs. Gary hid in an alley and gave her one of the thug's stray snails, and she took him away, much to Gary's relief.
Is the snail lady colorblind? That snail has a green shell compared to Gary's pink one.
Back at SpongeBob's house, Patrick tries to cheer SpongeBob up, but SpongeBob just couldn't stop thinking about Gary. He went outside and talked to a billboard, unaware that Gary was right behind him, and shared how much he loved Gary and was sorry for neglecting him. When he finally realized Gary was with him, he was overjoyed to have Gary back and promised to treat Gary better and took him home, and the episode ends.
Are you okay?
I need a minute.
Aw, I wish there was something more I can do for her.
So that was Have You Seen This Snail? And that is a great episode. I love how this one was not afraid to get emotional at all. They don't sugarcoat it in the slightest. The situation here is treated with total seriousness. Losing a pet is a very big deal for the owner and the pet. I feel like the situation has the perfect balance of humor and somberness. It's treated super seriously, but not to the point where SpongeBob might want to unalive himself because he was so depressed since his negligence was what prompted Gary to run away. And it's got some good humor in it, like the scene in Squidward's bathroom, but not to the point where they try to be too wacky and over the top that you forget there are any stakes at all. And with something as serious and tear-jerking as losing a pet, you don't want it to be so wacky that you don't take it seriously. This episode teaches so many important things. The importance of being a responsible pet owner, the dangers of running away and being taken in with complete strangers, and to cherish the most important people in your life because they could be gone in no time, in one way or another. You never know what could happen to the pet if it runs away. And with how much people love pets and treat them as friends and family all in one, it feels like the worst things ever when you lose one, whether they go missing or they actually die. Now, I never had a pet dog or cat growing up, so I have no experience in this field at all. I totally understand why people get sad over something like this. I'm sure I would react the same way if I had a dog or cat growing up, or even at this moment. And whenever a friend of mine says their pet died, I always wish I could help them out in more ways that I can, at least compared to my experiences losing a family member. It's important to keep track of your pet, and if they go missing, they could end up in the hands of a deadly stranger, which is what happened to Gary here. He ended up with an old lady who gave him all of her attention that SpongeBob neglected to do at that point. Everything seemed peaches and cream for a while, and when Gary found out what she had done to her previous pet snails, he learned the dangers of running away the way he did, and was soon so grateful to be back with SpongeBob. Both of them were so lucky that nothing tragic happened to Gary. The situation could have been a lot worse, with Gary injured or dead, which happened to the previous snail victims, and both of them learned a lesson from this. It's amazing. What they did with the old lady here is absolutely brilliant. She's Gary's savior at first. She takes him in and feeds him and gives him so much fun that SpongeBob neglected to do. But when her true intentions were revealed and what she had done in her past, she ends up looking very menacing. And I love that, showing that evil can come from any places, even from somebody who seems to be your savior at that point. There's also a lot of great character moments, like Squidward's brief appearance in his bathroom, Patrick being concerned for SpongeBob in his room, and when he blatantly states how SpongeBob's negligence made Gary run away, and I like the brief scene of Gary trying to get SpongeBob's attention. I'm not a huge fan of Mr. Krabs not caring about SpongeBob losing Gary, but he also got what he deserved when SpongeBob left the Krusty Krab to find Gary. Patrick is also great here. I love when he gets startled by the office products and the process of how he tastes the seahorse milk to find out how long it's been since he's seen SpongeBob, and just how he's there for SpongeBob in these times of need. Something that hit me on this latest rewatch was just another instance of the bad modern characterization of these characters. During the crab store scene, Patrick really wanted the scented pine cones, but when he found out Grandma already bought them, he was just sad he couldn't get them for himself. I feel like in season 12 or 13 or onwards, or definitely the Patrick show, he'd probably get rough with the old lady and get the pine cones that way. I like this version of Patrick way better, and I wish the writers remembered this version of Patrick was way better than what we have now. And sure, you can say that he was a little mean with how bluntly he stated SpongeBob drove Gary away, but I'm fine with it here because in this case, that needed to be clearly communicated because it was SpongeBob's ignorance that made Gary run away. So it was SpongeBob's fault, and this is just a clear vocalization that he fucked up. I also like SpongeBob here. I like we still get to see his love for Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, how he's not strong enough to withstand the weight of the heavy snail food for a long period of time, and how he gets annoyed when Patrick is distracted during their mission to find Gary. His determination to find Gary is admirable, and as sad as he gets when he misses Gary, I love that even those who are the most optimistic and see the good in everybody can still have those things that make them sad or angry. It's a more interesting side of SpongeBob that we don't get to see too often, and that's awesome. That one reviewer that didn't like how sad SpongeBob was despite his optimistic, happy nature clearly doesn't understand the concept of a multi-layered character. Or maybe he never saw that SpongeBob can get mad on other occasions too.
What are you saying?
Of course, I can't not talk about the song. I had seen the episode quite a few times that there was a point in my life that I didn't cry when watching this. But that's due to me being a huge SpongeBob fan and liking all of them to the point where I just smile while watching them. I cried a few times when I was young, but I put on a face and claimed that I didn't do it just to see if that would impress everybody with how much I like SpongeBob. But nowadays, that changed. I also remember when I was separated from an old girl best friend during a time in middle school, I did think of this song when I was depressed over that. Nowadays, I don't think of anything but this song whenever I watch this part of the episode. But during this latest rewatch, I did tear up when the song played, especially during the photo album part. I like that they got a guest singer for this song instead of having SpongeBob do it himself. That makes it all the more impactful in my opinion. Boys cry when they're in the hospital. Men cry at this song. It's the saddest song in the history of the show. Even to this day, the only song that rivals it was This Grill Is Not a Home from episode 67, Welcome to the Chum Bucket from season 2. Again, this episode is not afraid of pulling at the audience's heartstrings, and it's beautiful. The reunion between SpongeBob and Gary also made me tear up in a happy way. I don't think any other episode got me as emotional as this one. I love that and I can't praise it enough. But this episode still has some great humor sprinkled in throughout. This face by Patrick and Squidward screaming in the bathtub are both very popular memes on YouTube, especially the latter. It's funny when SpongeBob fails to hit the paddle ball. The Skyrider gag helped me laugh when the song made me cry.
Who is this Lisa person?
What?
And several of Patrick's lines are really funny.
The apocalypse! Office products falling from the sky! I want peanuts.
Even though we never found out what he wanted to tell him at the start. I also really like the setting of Bass Vegas. I wish the name itself was stated in the episode because I didn't really know that it was called that until I saw it years later online. The people here are shady and it's visually different to Bikini Bottom. Not too much, but it still is. And it's a very clear indicator that we are in a different place, which again, brilliantly sets the tone for the situation. This episode has a great balance of classic humor while making sure we can still take the situation seriously. I feel like if this episode was done in season 13 or 14, there'd be too many wacky faces or destruction or references to past episodes that you'd forget Gary was even missing. And if it was done in season 7 or 8, I could see this being a little too dark and controversial. So in my opinion, this episode came out at the perfect time for it to be the best that it could be. There's also some good details sprinkled throughout, like the fog on the streets in this shot, Nickelodeon being on the paddleball box, and I always found it interesting that the note says United Delivery Company instead of Bikini Bottom Delivery Company or something. I also like the eerie tone when Patrick walks up to SpongeBob and sees part of his house is a wreck, showing that everything here is serious, even the event that caused Gary to run away in the first place. There is so much that's great about this episode that I really can't find something to complain about. This whole episode is executed very well. It has some great stakes that keep us watching, wanting to know what's next, but it still has some of that classic SpongeBob humor we all love. One of the best episodes of season 4 by a long shot, and also one of the best episodes of the whole series in my opinion. A great example of how well written these characters can be, as well as how the show can play with tone and atmosphere and do it very well for the most part, especially atmosphere, and even pull at our heartstrings when we don't expect it.
Just let it out, Christina. It's okay.
They're among friends.
I just can't help it. I miss him so much. I don't know why he even ran away, so I can't even make it up to him when he comes back. He was my best friend. I just wish I could see him again to tell him how much I love him. I just want to pet him and feel his lovely fur again like I am now.
Ugh, Mercury, will you quit rubbing up against me? I'm trying to forget you. Mercury! Look, Mikey, he's back!
Oh, thank God. Glad I could help.
You call that help?
Mercury, don't you ever scare me like that again. I had no idea where you were hiding, but there's gonna be some serious changes around here.
Well, all's well that ends well. Have You Seen This Snail is an amazing episode. It's a great balance of being taken seriously while still being funny. It plays its concept completely straight and isn't sugarcoated at all. The characters are all awesome here, and with that music number, I don't think there will ever be another SpongeBob episode that pulls at our heartstrings that way ever again. I'm so happy this episode exists, and that it came out at the time it did, because I feel if it came out when the show was at a lower point, it probably wouldn't have helped matters much. I may not have had a pet dog or cat myself growing up, but now I can say I've experienced what it feels like when one runs away. And it's a lot worse than I thought it would be. So the moral of the story is, if you're a pet, don't run away.